Welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive. Today, we're going to kind of zero in on strategic sales engagement.
Okay.
And this is something that I think is top of mind for a lot of sales and revenue leaders.
For sure.
So I think this is going to be really relevant for you guys listening.
Yeah.
We've got a whole stack of articles and research today. And our mission today
Okay.
with our Nova is to help you sift through all of it
Awesome.
and find those golden nuggets that can really move the needle for you.
Love it.
Nova, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Awesome. So I guess to kick things off, instead of just giving a textbook definition of sales engagement, what are some of the things that maybe we as seasoned sales professionals kind of miss?
I think sometimes we can get really caught up in
Yeah.
the tools and the tech side of things and forget that it's really about human connection. At the end of the day, we need to understand our prospects' pain points
Right.
and anticipate their needs and really just deliver value in every interaction.
Mhm.
Okay, so that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But, with all the pressure to hit quotas and close deals,
Right.
how do we make sure that that human touch doesn't kind of get lost in the shuffle?
Yeah, that's where strategy comes in. And,
Sure.
this is something we were reading about in a recent blog article.
Okay.
A whopping 92% of sales development organizations
Wow.
consider sales engagement platforms critical.
Yeah.
But it's not just about having the tech.
Right.
It's about using it strategically to personalize interactions and create a more meaningful experience for your prospects.
So you're saying it's about working smarter, not harder.
Exactly.
Okay, I like that.
And, one thing to consider is personalization.
Right.
McKinsey actually found that personalized interactions can increase sales by 20%
Wow.
and boost customer satisfaction by 30%.
That's huge.
That's huge.
Yeah.
But it goes beyond just, using someone's name in an email.
Yeah. You're right. I see that all the time, and it feels so robotic.
Yeah. So how do we actually leverage that personalization
Yeah.
to drive engagement?
So it really comes down to understanding your prospect.
Right.
What are their specific challenges? What keeps them up at night?
Right.
And once you have that insight,
Yeah.
you can then tailor your messaging
Okay.
to demonstrate how your solution addresses their needs directly.
That makes me think of Salesforce.
Uh-huh.
Their enablement strategy
Right.
is all about arming their sales team with the right information.
Mm-hmm.
So I imagine that plays a pretty big role in their success with personalized engagement.
Absolutely. Salesforce provides their reps with everything from product demos to, compelling customer success stories.
Right.
This empowers them to engage prospects with content that's actually valuable,
Yeah.
that speaks to their pain points.
So it's kind of about providing that value up front and building that credibility
Exactly.
and positioning yourself as that trusted advisor.
Exactly. And when you combine that with timely follow-ups, you can actually accelerate your sales cycles.
Inside Sales found that 50% of sales go to the vendor who responds first.
Wow.
Imagine if your team could consistently be that first responder.
Yeah. But I do see the value in speed.
Right.
I worry about being too pushy and
Right.
overwhelming prospects.
Sure. Yeah. So there's definitely a fine line between persistence and annoyance.
Okay.
It's about being strategic and using tools like automation to your advantage.
Okay.
For example, you can set up automated email sequences
Yeah.
triggered by specific prospect actions, like downloading a white paper
Okay.
or visiting a certain page on your website.
So it's not just about bombarding them with messages. It's
Uh,
about delivering the right information at the right time.
Exactly.
And I imagine data plays a big role in this too.
Absolutely. Data is key. Forrester's research actually shows that data-driven prioritization can boost sales productivity by 40%.
Wow.
Sales engagement platforms offer so many insights into prospect behavior,
Okay.
analyzing things like email opens, click-through rates, and website activity.
You can identify your hottest leads
Right.
and focus your efforts where they'll have the biggest impact.
So again, work smarter, not harder.
Exactly.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm a big fan of real-world examples.
Yeah.
What are some businesses that are really nailing this data-driven approach?
I think SaaS companies in particular
Yeah.
are doing really innovative things with social selling.
Okay.
Imagine a rep connecting with a potential buyer on LinkedIn,
So,
sharing a relevant industry report,
mm-hmm.
and engaging in thoughtful conversations on their posts.
So they're adding value-building rapport
Exactly.
and then subtly positioning their product as a solution.
You got it.
I like it.
They're building those authentic connections and demonstrating their expertise
Like,
in a way that's helpful, not pushy.
that's a great example of how social selling and strategic sales engagement can really work together
Yeah.
to kind of create those valuable touch points.
It's all about understanding the modern buyer's journey and meeting your prospects where they are.
I couldn't agree more. Now, before we move on to some of those best practices for effective prospect engagement, are there any common mistakes
Oh, yeah,
that you see sales and revenue leaders making that we should be aware of?
absolutely. I think one of the biggest pitfalls is over-automation.
Okay.
While automation can be a really powerful tool,
Right.
it's important to use it strategically and avoid coming across as impersonal.
So it's all about that balance between efficiency and the human touch.
Exactly.
Okay, cool.
Another common mistake is failing to follow up persistently.
Right.
Studies show that most sales require 5 or more follow-ups.
Wow.
Yet so many teams just give up after 1 or 2 attempts.
Yeah, I've definitely been guilty of that myself.
Yeah,
It's easy to get discouraged,
it is.
but persistence is key.
Persistence is key.
Okay, what else?
Another one is generic outreach.
Right.
Using the same tired templates and messaging for every prospect
Yeah.
just won't cut it.
Yeah.
You need to personalize your communication to stand out from that crowded inbox.
Right.
The blog article we mentioned earlier said personalized emails have 6 times higher transaction rates than generic ones.
Wow, so no more spray and pray.
Definitely not.
Okay.
And lastly, don't forget to track your results.
Okay.
Without measuring those key metrics like response rates and conversions, you're essentially flying blind.
Yeah.
You need that data to understand what's working and what needs to be adjusted.
I love how you've emphasized that data-driven approach throughout this whole conversation.
It's so important.
It's all about making informed decisions, not just relying on gut feeling.
Absolutely. Data is your superpower when it comes to optimizing your sales engagement strategy.
I love it. Data is your superpower.
It's
Okay,
so-
so that's great.
Yeah.
So Nova, let's shift gears a little bit
Okay.
and talk about best practices for engaging those prospects.
Sure.
What are some things that our listeners can do right away
Yeah.
to make a real difference?
Building on what we were just talking about, I think embracing a multi-channel approach is key.
Okay.
So don't just rely on email. Think about where your prospects are spending their time
Right.
and meet them there.
So LinkedIn, Twitter, industry forums,
Exactly.
maybe even targeted direct mail.
Yeah, exactly.
So-
It's about casting a wider net and engaging them in a way that feels really natural and relevant.
Yeah. And then once you've made that initial connection,
Mm-hmm.
consistency is key.
Consistency is key.
Yeah.
I think we even heard that stat earlier.
Right.
Most sales require 5 or more follow-ups.
Yeah. It's easy to get discouraged after a couple,
Right.
but it sounds like persistence really pays off.
It really does. But remember, it's not just about sending the same message over and over again.
Yes.
You need to actually adjust your approach
Right.
based on how they've interacted with you previously.
Oh, okay.
Did they open your last email? Did they click on a link?
Right.
Did they comment on your LinkedIn post? Use that information to tailor your next message and provide even more value.
So it's almost like having a conversation then. So
Exactly.
it's just like a series of one-way messages.
Yeah, a great way to put it.
Okay, cool.
And as that conversation evolves, so should your engagement strategy.
Right.
Think about the information and resources that would be most helpful to
Yes.
your prospects at different stages of their decision making.
So offering educational content and thought leadership pieces early on.
Yeah,
And then maybe transitioning to more tailored stuff,
exactly.
like case studies and ROI calculators as they get closer to making a decision.
Exactly. It's about anticipating their needs and providing the right information at the right time to guide them towards a solution.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And it seems like social selling really plays into that.
Absolutely.
Meeting your prospects where they're providing value up front.
Social selling is all about leveraging those platforms to build relationships, establish your expertise, connect with potential buyers in a more authentic way. It's not about pushing your product.
Right.
It's about engaging in those conversations,
Right.
sharing valuable insights, and ultimately positioning yourself as that trusted resource.
That actually reminds me of a time
Oh, I'd love to hear about it.
I was trying to connect with this VP of marketing at a software company.
Okay.
And I knew she was really active on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
So I started following her, commenting on her posts,
Yeah.
sharing some of my own content that I thought would be relevant.
Nice.
And after a while, we struck up a conversation, and she actually reached out to me
Wow.
to learn more about our services.
That's a perfect example of how social selling can really work.
Yeah,
You weren't being pushy, you were just providing value, building a relationship,
exactly.
and it led to a qualified lead.
It did.
That's awesome.
And it really just reinforced for me the importance of being patient and playing the long game.
Absolutely. Sometimes it takes time to build that trust and credibility.
Yeah, for sure. So speaking of credibility, I think it's important to highlight that strategic sales engagement isn't just some like fluffy concept.
Right.
It can actually have a real impact on your bottom line.
It absolutely can.
So tell me more about that. How does this translate into business results?
Well, by fostering these consistent, personalized interactions, you're building stronger relationships with your prospects.
Yeah.
Stronger relationships lead to higher conversion rates.
Right.
Faster deal closures, increased customer loyalty.
So it's not just about closing more deals, it's about creating customers who are going to stick around.
Exactly.
That's huge.
It's huge. And, whether you're a small business or a large enterprise, investing in these strategies can give you a significant competitive advantage.
Okay, so before we wrap up,
Okay.
I'd love to get your take on the tech side of things.
Sure.
Are there any specific tools or platforms that you would recommend
Oh, yeah.
for people who are looking to kind of streamline and optimize their sales engagement efforts?
There are so many great tools out there.
Okay.
CRMs like Salesforce and HubSpot are essential. For email automation, you've got options like reply.io and Outreach.
Okay.
And for scheduling demos and calls Calendly is a lifesaver.
So it sounds like there's something for everyone,
There is.
but with so many choices,
Right.
it can be a little overwhelming.
It can be.
So any advice on how to choose the right tools?
I would say the key is to focus on integration and insights.
Okay.
Choose tools that integrate seamlessly with your existing workflows
Right.
and provide the data and insights you need to continuously refine your strategy.
Okay.
And don't be afraid to experiment.
Right.
What works for one team may not work for another.
That's great advice. So as we wrap up this deep dive into strategic sales engagement, what are some of the key takeaways?
I think it boils down to three things.
Okay.
Personalization, consistency, and value.
Oh, I like it.
Personalize your messaging to resonate with each prospect.
Yeah.
Follow up consistently and thoughtfully.
Yeah.
And always, always, always provide value.
Those are excellent points. Personalization, consistency, and value.
Yeah.
The pillars of successful sales engagement.
Exactly. And by embracing these principles, you can create a sales experience that not only drives results, but also builds those lasting relationships.
Now, before we say goodbye, I want to leave our listeners with a little challenge.
Okay.
Think about one specific touch point in your current sales process. How can you make that interaction more personalized and valuable?
Yeah.
Maybe it's tweaking your email follow-up sequence. Maybe it's adding a personal touch to your LinkedIn outreach.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, challenge yourself to make a small change that can have a big impact.
I love that.
Nova, thank you so much for joining me today.
It's been a pleasure.
This has been a really insightful conversation, and I know our listeners have gained a lot from it.
Awesome.
And to our amazing listeners,
Yes.
thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of strategic sales engagement.
Thanks, everyone.
So we covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
But the real work starts now.
Right.
It's time to take these insights and put them into action.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah. Start by identifying those key touch points in your sales process.
okay.
Look for those opportunities to inject more personalization, leverage that multi-channel engagement, and consistently deliver value.
So don't be afraid to experiment.
Right.
Find what works best for your team and your audience.
Exactly.
And remember, this is a journey, not a destination.
It is. The sales landscape is always evolving, so stay curious,
Yeah.
stay adaptable,
Okay.
and always be on the lookout for new ways to connect with your prospects.
Great advice, Nova. Thanks again for joining me on the deep dive.
It's been my pleasure.
And to all of our listeners out there, thank you for tuning in.
Yeah, thanks, everyone.
We hope you found this deep dive valuable
Yeah,
and that you're walking away with some actionable insights
absolutely.
to boost your sales performance
Yeah.
and build those stronger customer relationships.
For sure.
Until next time, happy selling, everyone.
Happy selling.